Okay. So I'm sure you read something about Incoterms then.
Yes, I just glanced through the definition.
One of my lectures, I think I mentioned that, didn't I?
The Incoterms.
Yeah,
Uh,
I did.
mm,
We didn't pay attention. I did. When I was talking about the meaning of FOB and CIF
yes, you
in
just,
terms
yeah,
of
I
shipping,
remember. I
I mentioned
remember.
that
Mm,
Incoterms, when I mentioned about letters of credits and all that,
yes, yes, yes.
commercial terms, those are what you need to know. Because the terms, the freight, CIF, CFR, free on board, all those things are what we call the international commercial terms. Okay, so those are what we call Incoterms. So we hope to throw more light so you could get a bit more understanding the regulatory aspects and procedures and practices with international processes. So we'll look at Incoterms and its obligations. What then are Incoterms? Incoterms, I mean, basically it's the sale of contracts between a seller and a buyer. The responsibilities of each time of delivery and transfer of risk. Okay, so it should clearly state the risks and the liabilities of the seller and then also the buyer. This is why we spoke about those FOB and CIF and all that, because it clearly shows the risk, who has more risk and who has less risk, and to what extent does the risk start and where do they end. Incoterms are a set of living traits for use in business-to-business contract for the sale and purchase of goods. They are used within contracts, but are not substitute for contract of sale. They do not deal with things such as passing of title, quality of goods, or the price. Okay, so they do not deal with things such as passing of title, the quality of goods, or the price. What it means then is it is just how to do with the time delivery and then also the sale of the goods, and not necessarily the pricing or um, the title of the goods. So in shipping, there's what we call bill of lading. Have you heard it before?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. So bill of lading. So the bill of lading itself covers the title of the goods and all the shipment information. But when we come to Incoterms, it has to do with the transfer of goods. You understand?
Okay.
Yes, the transfer of goods pertaining to what transfer goods method the two parties have agreed on. So, like I did say, Incoterms are divided into four principal categories: E, F, C, and D. Where category E is more of a departure, which contains only one trade term. We say that X works. I explained that to you if you remember the last time. Where X works, I said is more to do with the seller just producing the goods, and that's all. Okay.
Yeah.
The buyer takes all the risks from the point of factory to the destination. I explained this. Then category F, we have the FCA, free carrier, free AS, free along ship, that the goods are just delivered along the ship side, the keyway, and then the seller does everything. The buyer does everything, sorry. Then we have FOB, whilst the goods are supplied on the ship, the liabilities and the responsibilities of the seller ends. The buyer's responsibility takes control from when the things are delivered on the ship. Then we have the C category, which is CPT, carriage paid to, the carriage paid to, or carriage and insurance paid to. So the buyer pays the carriage. That's what it means. And then it ends there. You know, so you pay the carriage paid up to probably you are paid something from China, and when it ends somewhere in London, the liability of the seller ceases. Or you might choose to pay the carriage and also the insurance that comes with it. Okay. Yes, the buyer pays that. Okay, or the seller pays that. Either way. Then we have the CFR, which is cost and freight. So you pay the cost of the shipment and the freight as well. Okay, where the freight is on the goods. Okay, freight charges are on the goods, but the cost of transfer is something else. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is also there. You have CIF, which is the most commonly used cost insurance freight. Okay. Yes, cost insurance rate, that they take off everything, cost, insurance, and the freight. CIF is the mostly used among clearing agents. Then we have category D, which is AREMA, which contains three methods. You have the DDP, delivered duty paid, DAP, delivered at place, and that's it. Or DPU, delivered at the place unloaded. Delivered at the place unloaded. It means that delivered at place will be loaded, but DPU, delivered at place unloaded. Then DPP, delivered duty paid. Delivered duty paid. So these are four categories that you need to know when it comes to Incoterms. These are things you need to know. Yeah. You may have questions on X works. You may be told that a man that, and this, that, and that. What do you think is the best mode the person would have to use? You understand me?
Yeah.
It depends on what the buyer wants. The buyer just wants the goods to be manufactured and he takes control of everything. Then you choose X works, isn't it?
Yeah.
If the buyer wants the seller to take off the cost, insurance, and freight entirely, they have to choose CIF, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you read more, and the link is below, okay, you would understand more about. But the commonly used one is CIF, okay?
Okay.
CIF. That's what most clearing agents use. Cost, insurance, freight, okay? That's the most commonly used ones. CIF. Cost, insurance, freight. Once they pay, all those have been paid, then you have a peace of mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move further. So there's a table here that tells you a bit. So from X works, you have to have an agreed place where the goods need to be delivered. Free carrier, also agreed place. Free carrier along ship, that is the point of loading. Go on the ship. Free on board is also the port of loading. So those two areas have to do with the port of loading. Then cost and freight is at the port of destination. Do you understand? So you see how easy it is. You understand that the seller takes off everything to the port of destination, to where you want the things. Okay, delivered. Okay.
Yeah.
Cost and freight, the cost, insurance, and freight also at the port of destination. Then cost paid to place of destination also. So not port, rather place. Okay. Carrier insurance paid to also place of destination. Then delivered at place unloaded. There's still destination. The rest are still destination. So the two important areas: the cost and freight, and the cost, insurance, and freight. Okay, that is the port of destination, or place of destination, or CPT, or carrier insurance paid to. Those two as also, those are the port of destination and place of destination. For me, I think that if I want to choose anything, I'll go for those four. Okay, any of them, because those are the seller's liability from manufacturing to the port of destination or place of destination. Okay. Good. Good. Then we look at so let's look at scenario. An exporter, you need to make sure shipping and delivery responsibilities are written down and clearly understood. Using international commercial terms known as Incoterms, in contrast, can help you do this. Incoterms are a set of international recognized three-letter trade terms. They describe the practical arrangement for delivery of goods from sellers to buyers and allocate the obligations, cost and risks between two parties. They are produced by International Chamber of Commerce. Have you heard of it? The ICC.
Yes, I've heard of international commerce.
And updated periodically to reflect changing trade practices. It's very important that they update it because things change every now and then. Okay. Then let's look at why, while you are negotiating a contract with a buyer, you need to discuss and agree. One, where the goods will be delivered, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who arranges the transport, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who handles and pays for the insurance? Very important. Who handles customs procedures? Who pays any duties and taxes? For example, an exporter might agree to deliver goods at the exporter's expense to a port in the customer's country. The customer might then take over responsibility, arranging and paying for custom clearance and delivery to their premises. The exporter might also be responsible for arranging insurance for the goods until they reach port, but pass this cost on to the customer. Are we clear on that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So by asking these questions, you know what the buyer wants, isn't it?
Yes.
And then you look at what is viable. If you think you can do that, you charge them, you do that and charge them. Okay?
Yeah.
But that should be part of your company terms and conditions, isn't it? You ask the questions and then you ask the questionnaire, and then when they answer, then you know what kind of freight you want to put in, whether you want to use Mescline or you want to use, and then you have some special arrangement with those shipping lines, and then you will charge the shipping line cost and also charge the custom delivering cost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. As well as delivery details, the contract should cover payments. They should include what currency payment we made in. Of course, we normally use dollars, don't we?
Yeah.
How much will be paid, whether they have to pay some deposit upfront and pay the rest upon arrival, when payment due, and what payment method would you do? Is it 1 week payment? Is it 1 month after delivery or 1 month before delivery? Okay. All these have to be clearly spent in your terms and conditions and your contracts. Now, exporters in this service sector cannot use Incoterms. Why? As there is no physical product that has been shipped, isn't it?
I don't quite get that.
Let me go further. It's referred to the exporter here. Example, an exporter might agree to deliver goods at the exporter's expense to a port in the customer's country. The customer might take over responsibility, arranging and paying the custom and clearance and delivery in their premises. The exporter might also respond for arranging insurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go further, it then is contract for service exporters. Okay? Contract for service exporters.
Okay, so the first one is for goods.
Yes.
Okay.
So now, exporters in the service sector, those who export, cannot use Incoterms.
Okay, so in this situation, what is being exported is a service. It's in the service sector, so there is no physical product involved.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. It's a service. Okay, so it's not a good being transferred.
Okay.
You understand me? As there is no physical product that has been shipped. You understand? Therefore, when you are negotiating for contract for service provision, it is important you define exactly what service you are providing and to what standards. That you say you use what we call SLA. You remember I told you that?
Yeah.
Service what? Level agreement. You remember? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
So in the service sector, we use what we call service level agreement because you are not shipping any goods. So the level agreement is where you capture everything legally and binding among the two parties. Okay, terms of payment, when would you be paid? If it's you are exporting, at what point are they paying you? Are you paying offhand before you deliver? Okay. Or are they paying parts before? So all these things have to be clearly defined. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you can read more on this with the WTA, the World Trade Organization. Okay.
Okay.
Get more information on international trade and all that. Who is involved in the contract of carriage? Who is involved in the contract? Obviously, we know. Once there's a carrier, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the carrier, whether road, rail, we all know that the carrier may be a freight tracking carrier, air cargo carrier, ocean carrier, etc. And the user is either the consignee or the consignor. Do you understand those terms?
Yeah.
What's the understanding of that?
The consignor will be the person who is to receive the consignment.
Is that way around?
Okay. All right. Okay. So the consignee is the one who is to receive the consignment, and the consignor is the one who is giving out the giving out the consignment.
So consignee is always the receiver.
Okay.
So if you have seen a bill of lading before or contract documents, you always see consignee. The one you've consigned assign your goods to is the receiving person, okay?
Yeah.
And normally you see the person's name on the bill of lading or the contract terms. It has to be mentioned. But you also have normally the date, you understand, of receiving and all that. So with that document, that is what will enable you to go to the port, okay?
Yeah.
And clear the goods, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because your name is mentioned there, isn't it?
And
if you are using an agent, you have to give those bill of lading to the agent, isn't it?
Yeah.
To clear on your behalf, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what is stated here. So everything I'm saying is stated here, okay? An agent of freight forwarder may commonly agree to act as an agent, either consecutively or even simultaneously for one or more merchant party contract of carriage, or otherwise assume some role involving giving of gratis, okay, or advice on other services, okay? Are we there?
Yeah.
So the agent is only acting on the consignee, but the agent can also act for the consignor as well. Do you agree?
Yes.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, the consignor may have an agent also in Ghana that clears their goods for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Without the meeting of consignee and consignor, let's look at a contract of carriage defines the legal responsibility of the carrier and the user. The carrier may be a freight tracking carrier, air cargo. We mentioned it, haven't we? The carriage of goods in an international freight shipment has been standardized by international convention. These requirements ensure uniformity in the application of rules and laws. In particular, the standardized contract of carriage included in all carrier contract terms and conditions, and reference in freight forwarders terms and conditions set minimum standards for carrier liability and responsibility, for instance, in case of loss or damage. The convention also standardizes the rights and responsibilities of shippers and their freight forwarders. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Very good. Let's proceed. Why do we think you're talking more about freight forwarding? A freight forwarding agency contract may be described as a contract whereby a contractor, okay, whether described as a forwarding agent, a freight forwarder, a delivery agent, or a carrier, agrees to act as an agent for a principal, whether consignor. Have you seen that? Or consignee. Do you don't understand my question?
Yeah.
So a clearing agent or freight forwarder can either act for both sides, isn't it?
Yes.
There may be some big organizations abroad have their agents in Ghana. They are the consignor, but because they are big, they may be in Sweden or Switzerland, okay? Or they have their agents in Ghana, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, in that when there's a ship calling at the Tema port or accredited port, they are not going to travel from Switzerland, would they?
No.
To come down, but they have an agent that they pay them, isn't it?
Yeah.
To represent them in Ghana in terms of any clearance of their goods and all that. In that case, It is the consignee that's going to deal with that agent and not the consignee deal everything themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or the other way around, there could be an agent that also acts on behalf of the consignee, isn't it? And the consignee says that I'm expecting some goods from Maersk Line arriving this, but because I'm not well versed in the freight forwarding industry and all the paperwork, I'm appointing you as my agent, isn't it? To go through the custom process and do everything for me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the meaning of that. In procuring a contract of carriage between the person and the carrier. This role is typically to be contrasted with that of a party who contracts to carry, in which case, absent clear express provision to the contrary, he may delegate the work required in the performance of duty, but not duty itself. You understand that? Not the duty itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
But in the performance of the duty, and not the duty itself. So the consultant would have just apportioned just a portion of the performance of the duty, but not the duty itself to the agents. You agree that?
Yeah.
In loose commercial terms, the contractor, whatever else he may be or hold himself out to be, is a booking agent for the customer, thereby fulfilling the counterpart role to that which a liner or a booking agent customarily performs for a carrier. Do we get understanding on that, or should I explain?
Okay.
So let me read again. In loose commercial terms, the contractor is a booking agent for the customer. You understand? Thereby fulfilling all the counterpart role to that which a liner or a booking agent customarily performs for a carrier. So what it means that the contractor, whatever else it may be or hold himself out to be, is a booking agent. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
For the customer, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the customer has appointed him or her, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Thereby fulfilling the counterpart role, is counterpart role to that which a liner, when we say a liner, it's talking about a ship, okay, or a carrier, or a booking agent would perform for a carrier. Are we getting it?
Yeah.
Okay. Determining whether a contractor has agreed to fulfill such an agency role in respect of the role, or at least some part of this work, is often not an easy task. Contractors commonly perform the functions of both carrier and forwarding agent in the same transaction, and perform sometimes even for the same customer. Do you understand the whole thing?
Yeah.
You see how these carrier agents sometimes make money? Because in some situations, it may be the same person representing the consignor, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the same person representing the consignee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you see, matters may also be very difficult. In that situation, very difficult for the considerable degree of informality encountered in contracting arrangements of the parties, where the contractor is not an actual carrier, and also by the fact that standard terms in common use typically provide for contractor to have the option to make performance in either a principal, contractor, or agency role. Indeed, in those infrequent cases where nothing at all may have been expressly agreed in this respect, as where the point is not addressed by the parties and no standard terms are incorporated into their contract, it will fall to the law to infer what was intended. And the most obvious inference in such case may be that the contractor has the option to perform in either capacity. Is it clear on that one as well?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for that. A contractor may be an agent to arrange, but at the same time warrant certain features of the contract is to arrange what we call the N2, or some aspect of the third party's performance of that contract, or maybe N3. An intermediate, if somewhat remote possibility, is that the contractor agrees to undertake an intermediate role between that of a carrier and an agent limited to procuring carriage by another person, but without doing so as an agent for his customer, although it has been said that such a role is neither likely to be inferred lightly. Do you get understanding of that as well?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's
self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's proceed. You have these links there that you can always copy and share on this. So let's look at the international treaties or threats. We have treaties. You have the Treaty of Lisbon. You have the Treaty of the Nice. You have the Treaty of Amsterdam, the Treaty of the European Union, which we all know. The Maastricht Treaty. You have the Single European Act. You have the Major Treaty, which is more of the Brussels Convention. You have the treaties of the Rome, EEC, and Eurotop treaties. Treaties establishing the European Coal and Steel Community, the EU, the NAFTA, and then ATHE. Okay?
Yeah.
You can read about them. Let's look at how we can analyze tariffs and duties that affect prices of imported or exported goods. Goods used in Incoterms. The latest version of Incoterms is the Incoterms 2020. Used to have the Incoterms 2018, which was amended, which came into effect on 1st January 2020. The new version is similar to the previous one, Incoterms 2010, but takes into account developments in commercial practice and updates the rules to make them easier to use. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look. I've explained this already. So it's here. You can get more explanation from the write-up. Okay.
Okay.
So it's there. Express. Have you seen that? The seller means the goods available for the seller's location, so the buyer can take over the transportation. You remember I said that. And back all the cost is there. Then free carrier. The seller is responsible for the delivery of goods to the named carrier. In other words, whether ship, whether truck, whether rail. Okay. The responsibility for the cost and risks then pass on to the buyer. Free along ship. The seller must place the goods alongside the ship at the named UK port. In the named UK port. The risk of loss. Why only UK? So there's an error there, okay? Okay. That's amended, not the named port. The risk of loss or damage to the goods passes when the goods are alongside the ship and the buyer bears all the cost from that moment.
Could the writer be using UK port as an example? Like
correct. Then free on board, another popular one. Free on board, FOB. The seller is responsible for all the costs involved in the process up until the goods are loaded onto the vessel at the named UK port. Once goods are being loaded, the buyer is responsible for the cost and risks involved in the onward shipment. That's another commonly used. Then cost freight. The seller must pay the cost and freight to bring the goods to the overseas port of destination. Popular ones, cost insurance freight is the same as SCFR. However, the seller must obtain and pay for the insurance. The default level of insurance cover under CIF is Institute Cargo Clause C. This applies to both 2010 and 2020 Incoterms. Okay. The carrier insurance paid CIP, which you know about it. The default level of insurance cover CIP is Institute Cargo Clauses. This higher level of cover for CIP than Incoterms 2010. They are delivered, are placed unloaded. I've explained that. You can read more. Delivered, duty paid, DDP. That is very important. You have to read about it. Then let's go further. Incoterms are globally recognized set of standards used worldwide in international and domestic contracts for the delivery of goods. The rules have been developed and maintained by experts and practitioners, brought together by ICC. They have become the standard in international business rules settings. The trade terms help traders avoid costly misunderstanding by clarifying the task, costs, and risks involved in the delivery of goods from sellers to buyers. Incoterms rules are recognized by the UNICETRA as the global standard for interpretation of most common terms of foreign trade. Very important, very important. It was launched in September 2019. Incoterms 2020 will come into effect on 1st January 2020. Okay, please note that all contracts made under Incoterms 2000 and any other previous editions remain valid, and parties to a contract for the sale of goods can agree to choose any version of Incoterms rules. However, we recommend you using the most current version of rules, which is Incoterms 2020. Okay, that's all you have to read. You have to download and read more about this. Nonetheless, it is important to clearly specify the chosen version. So in case you answer your question and you have to a bit state the reference, okay?
Yeah.
It's more of Incoterms 2020 rather than Incoterms 2000, okay?
Yeah.
And some of the references you have here, we have the forwardlaw.com, the tradefinanceglobal.com, and the Incoterms in international trade. Those are things that you can read more about. Okay, so Mr. Darby, do you have any question?
No. I'll read and then I'll go through them. And
please
but
read.
For now, I don't have a
please
question.
Read, go through and let me know.
Okay.
Yes, I also believe that we did 1 and 2, so I'm a bit confused. The message they sent to me.
Yes, for 1 and 2, we've done 1 and 2. So
yeah, so I mean, I'll send a message. I don't know why they said they don't have the recording. I don't know what's happening. So I'll cross check. Okay.
Okay. So
thank you. Yeah. So tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow, I'm sure
we are doing 4, right?
Tomorrow, yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Bye.